Mr. Burns here is my representative. However, in this case, he's not representing me. He's representing Smithfield Foods and Hughes Business. I came here hoping to level the playing ground just a little bit for the average family farmer. Today, consistently, they're under trespasses upon my land, the land that God gave me, that I'm the manager thereof. And I disagree with that. I've been caught working on my home, folks. Had the windows out of my house, working on my home. Started out with a little 4-room home to raise my family in. And the odor come in, that sickening sewer gas. So absolutely horrible. I was literally gagging, wanting to vomit, trying to get plastic over my windows. Is that fair? I think not. The only tool we found in fighting this battle, as of today, has been the nuisance lawsuit. And Smithfield Foods wants to hand that to Mr. Guernsey here and him to get you to consent on it and take that one tool or one weapon away from us. I disagree terribly so. They can correct the problem. They just don't want to spend the money to do so.
House Bill 209, Senate Bill 187, mirror bills. Gut nuisance legislation in Missouri, basically by classifying livestock operations and CAPOs as permanent nuisances instead of temporary nuisances. Basically what this does, and if it passes, you're all removing any incentive for the agricultural industry and CAPOs alike to improve business practices and technology. They'll have little incentive to be good neighbors and stewards of the land at that point. So if you limit the amount of money that a farmer can gain off of losing the value of his property to fair market value, how much money do you think they'll have left after 16 years of legal fees and Chinese water torture? Premium Standard reportedly spent an estimated $2.39 million on each of those cases. The term fair market value is cold and emotionless. I would like you all to quantify the value of a family farm that's been in your family and put a number on it and then try to get that in court.
This is going to limit the ability of regular farmers to complain about a bad neighbor that's not taking care of his odor problem. If there was no odor problem, I mean, there are always hogs stink, but there's a difference between the number of hogs. And I feel that if they can control this, then there wouldn't be the lawsuits. Instead of changing the law, we should be addressing the odor problem and why they can't get their odor under control.
What HB 209 and SB 187 will take away the right of farmers to protect their property rights from concentrated animal feeding operations. A lot of things that are being said here as theoretical arguments, they make sense, but that's not what's happening. What is happening is Premium Standard Farms moved to North Missouri next to a bunch of farmers that have lived there for generations, and the farmers didn't want to move. There is more in their land than just money. They want to stay on their land. Their grandparents grew up on that land. Their parents grew up on that land. And they are fighting back against Smithfield Foods, the largest pork operator, the largest pork corporation in the world. And they're winning. And that's why this legislation, in my opinion, in our opinion, that's why this legislation has been written. It's been written to protect the biggest of the big at the expense of the vast majority of farmers, cattle-calf operators, row croppers in the state of Missouri. It's unjust, and it not only takes away the incentive for these operations to be good neighbors, it creates a disincentive for them to be a good neighbor because what they will receive through this, through what would come of this legislation is so minimal. It doesn't make sense to even file a lawsuit. And number two, what Senator Lager said to the Kansas City Star is, they can get their fair market devaluation and then they can sell. That's the disjunct that's going on here. They don't want to sell. They want to stay there. That's where their parents grew up. That's where they grew up. That's where their parents grew up. And that's where their grandparents grew up. This bill is unjust. And like the former people that were testifying in opposition said, there is a right to farm statute right now that says if you've been in operation for a year, then you are free from nuisance lawsuits.